Hey, you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forged Lines Forever. Today, I have a 5v5 custom match here on the most amazing Neuroxys map generator. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting off with Team 1 in the Northwest, starting with Team 2 in the Southeast. Starting off with Team 1's Northeastern player, working our way southward and then cutting northward. We have in Light Oak Tan, the 1800 of Zawirazak. He is in Aeon here for this match. To the southwest, we have in Ruby Red Freedom as a UEF. He is a 1900. And again, continuing on this line, we have Luker as a Seraphim. He is the highest rated player on his team at a 2100 rating. And again, he is in light, not lightish red pink, but Barbie pink. It is kind of hard to tell with the Seraphim faction, specifically just looking at this, because it's just how they do the color on it makes it a little difficult. But of course, zooming out, I can see it a little bit better. Last but not least, here for Team 1's front line in glow in the dark green as Vas Yam 1. I think I always say his name wrong. I think it's Vas Yam because it's Y-A-W-M. Anyway, let me know in the comments if I'm saying his name right. I'm going to call him Voss for short. He is an 1800. And last but not least, for Team 1, another 1800 here in their lineup is Nasimka in Royal Blue as a UEF. So for Team 1 side of the map, they have 2 Aeon, 2 UEF, and 1 Seraphim, which means Team 1 lacks Cybran technology. Starting off with Team 2 Southern player, working way northeast, where we have in Rust in the south, Knightley as a UEF as an 1800. And to his northeast, we have in Batman Gray, I Make War on You. He is a 2100. And again, he is a Seraphim for this match. To his northeast, the other great player on Team 2 in Imperial Gray is Arima _. He is an Aeon for this match, and he is a 2200 rated player, the highest rated player on Team 2 and in the game overall. And to his north, the lowest rated player on their team and in the game overall is Sorcery at a 1400 in Emerald Green as a Cybran. But of course, it's a little bit balanced with that because there is a 2100 and a 2200 on Team 2. And last but not least, here for the regardless player of Team 2 in Chevy Crimson is the Cybran player of Plunder as a 1700. So for Team 2 side of the map, they have 2 Cybrans, 1 Seraphim, 1 Aeon, 1 UEF, which means Team 2 has all of the factions represented with 2 Cybrans to boot. And for 10 players on the map, let's take a look at the reclaim. They have to scoop up before they, well, scoop it all up. And it's 145,000 mass. That is a lot of mass. That is 14,500 mass for our players to scoop up. I mean, if it was divided evenly, which it of course never is, but there is a large 6,600 mass field in the middle of the map here, and it's a rock surrounded by a bunch of little rocks. Actually, technically, I think it's 2 rocks. Whatever. There's a mountain, little hill, whatever, surrounded by a bunch of rocks. That is 6,600 mass right there. And there's a 4,500, another 4,500, of course, down here. There's a lot of mass everywhere on this map. Definitely large clumps of it that our players are going to be fighting over. But 145,000 mass to start off with is a ton of mass. Not as much as that other game where it was like 400,000. But still, over 100,000 is amazing. And of course, for this map, not only is it covered in reclaim, it is covered in mass points everywhere. There's some groupings of a couple of mass points, but it's primarily just a lot of just one-offs. Specifically talking about Team 2 side of the map, while we have some raiding going on here from Luker, we do have a Trimex position down here for Knightley to grab. There is a Trimex position here, most likely will go to I Make War on You. There's another Trimex position, most likely go to Sorcery, and then another Trimex position over here that may also go to Sorcery. Maybe he'll gift it over to somebody else on Team 2. And in the rear, it looks like there's another Trimex position here, also going for Plunder. So I guess there's another Trimex position back here as well. There's just lots of, again, one-offs and then some grouping of mexes. So there'll be a lot of fighting, not only for the reclaim on the map, but just all of the mexes on the map. And of course, I love to see that. More mexes equals faster getting up to T3, T4 tech, which means lots and lots of crazy nonsense happens, which is what we love to see in Forged Alliance Forever. And as I talked about, we did see some raiding attempts here from Luca. He's been batted away. And now we see that in the east, Freedom is trying to do the exact same thing. He's getting a little bit further into Team 2's territory than Luca did, going after a couple of mexes that have already been built, but there are engineers nearby that can easily just reclaim those units, but it doesn't look like that engineer was able to do so in time. Looks like it's going after Arima's forces, but now the Mantis have caught up to those strikers, and that striker trying to fend off that Mantis attack. The striker will survive with only 20 hit points remaining. Will not kill that engineer, who also has 24 hit points remaining. But I don't think this is going to do a lot of damage. It's going to do a couple of mexes damage, at least in terms of damage to mexes. They haven't killed that mex off over there. They're, of course, trying to escape from those Mantis. There are engineers nearby going for ringing of a T2 mex already here for plunder, and they're going to build a T1 PD, and that's going to easily fend off those two units. But one engineer is down. One of them gets reclaimed immediately, and the other one is also reclaimed. They only killed off one engineer there. It's a little bit of a distraction, but not too much. We do see on the western side here, though, that Team 2's Knightley is pushing in against Nasimko. He's had to come in and assist on the western edge here to, again, assist protecting Voss's western side. Of course, doesn't want to have any leaking of some masses, what we exactly saw over here to the east from Plunder. He had to come in and save the day. We do see that T2 coming on the way here for Zwarzak in the east. And I did slow it down. I usually kind of start at +1 just to kind of get the early, fanning out of the comms and all of that. But there's a lot of stuff kicking off, so I'm going to slow. Obviously, you've already seen me slow it down. More units outbound here for the western side for Knightley, just constantly pushing in against, now kind of shifting a little bit to Voss's side, but T1 PD has been built. Actually, a couple of them have been, and that's going to really just funnel all the units to the middle here, which Nasimka is going to scoop up and, of course, get not only reclaim but also veterancy. Sensor package almost done here for Voss. Going to get a decent of the map visible to him at all times. And now counterattacking outbound from iMake Roar on you against Luker. Luker, again, standing strong, just going after a couple of Team 1 units. He does have some Ilshis online, so he just ran for it. He just ran for T2 tech. And, of course, he is Seraphim. Those Ilshis are very annoying to deal with in small numbers or in large numbers. Any number of Ilshis is very annoying to deal with. And there's even some units ringing around for him down here as well, talking about Luker. And in terms of COM actions here, it looks like it's going to be 1v1 in this northeastern corner here for, that is, Sorcery versus Zwarzak, if I can say his name right. On the western side here, it looks like it's 2v1, because I don't think Luker's going to shift westward. He's going to probably focus on iMake War on you. And then in the middle here, it's at least a 1v1 with Arima and Freedom going at it, but we do see that Plunder's over here. He can easily assist either front, but I think he's just going to hang out and scoop up some reclaim and kind of just be a little bit more passive, not necessarily aggressive with his commander. Lots of spam here. A couple of labs outbound from Sorcerer to try to push back Team 1's Freedom, but Team 1 has more PD online and is going for T2 Engineering Suite, which is just going to give him more PD options, which is going to make this push not as effective. He is going to go for gun immediately, though, so that's T2 spamming of PD is going to take a little bit longer to get through. But we do see a T2 Max is taken offline. That's 6 mass a second that he loses. Obviously, unfortunate. We do see T2 units starting to make their main stage appearance over here for him. T3 being built by Zwarzak. Very interesting that he doesn't go for PD immediately. Just wants to go for teching up. Maybe he wants to just be a little bit more protected in the hit point department. Maybe he just wants to spam out other things. I don't really know what he's doing over there. We do see that his opponent of Sorcery is countering with T2 tech on his comm. So very much a defensive, a little bit raiding of some T1, T2 units, but not really a lot of large groups of units that we are starting to see form on the western side over here for Team 1. We do see that Luker actually sending his units in to assist against Knightley. I was kind of surprised to not see him push in against iMake War on you, but iMake War on you is going to take that opportunity with units moving to a different front and going to come in and take out a couple of mexes here for Voss and for Luker. We do see, of course, the ecos a little bit favoring Team 2. It's about 10.5 minutes, so it's not a huge discrepancy. I mean, it kind of is for 10 minutes, but it's about 40 to 50 mass per second. Of course, the number is constantly switching back and forth because of all the reclaim and power and all that sort of thing. But all these units outbound for Luke are going to really severely diminish Knightly's ability to really pump out units. We see he has 3 main facilities over here, and he's upgrading to T3 tech as we speak, but his main T2 facilities are coming offline. He has a couple of PD trying to fend off these T2 blazes, but the Ilshis are inbound, and I'm sorry to say this here, Knightly, those PD are not going to be strong enough to deal with all those Ilshis. They're just not, so that is definitely unfortunate. He's going for gun. He sees the writing on the wall. He needs to get his comm on the front lines, but that can be a devastating amount of Ilshis to deal with for a commander, so he has to be very careful with how he engages that army, because that can easily be a kill for Team 1 if he's not careful. But of course he does have T3 land tech online, T3 air tech online for Plunder, T3 air tech also online for Nasimka, T3, T3, T3 online for Team 1, T2, T2, T3, T3. So everybody except for Sorcery has T3 land or air tech. And I wouldn't be surprised if he upgrades that here in a minute or so. But he's fending off an attack from Zawirazak. We do see he's producing as many units, and Rhinos trying to fend off this attack, but I don't know if it's going to really last very much longer. You see some Obsidians, love to see those shielded units, and of course the Asylum's just augmenting that shield even more. A shield coming online here for Zawirazak as well, so all the shields over here, the Aeons and their shielding tech, they have hover shields, they have units that have shields on them, the comm can get shields, like just all the shields. I mean, I know the UEF can get shields, but I don't think they have any units that have shields besides the parashield, which is more like a bubble shield rather than like a personal shield style. We do see a couple of units for IMEC Wanyu devastating the front line here for Luker's resourcing options. We see these are actually getting into now Freedom's territory. There's actually a couple of Othams assisting these Ilshis as well. And Team 1 needs to divert more attention. There's lots of Titans being spammed up very quickly here by Freedom. Looks like he's going for just more and more Titans. Would like to see him transition to Percy's. But at 13 minutes, he's already just spammed out about a dozen or so Titans. He even has more over here. And he's facing off against some Harbingers. And those Harbingers, of course... Actually, no. The Titans do have a personal shield. Scratch that. They are the only personal shield unit in terms of non-comm for the UEF. I was like... Wait, there's got to be one. And of course, as I'm talking about the unit, I'm like, oh yeah, they have a shield. Look at that. We do see that, of course, the Harbingers are outnumbered. They do, I think, a little bit more damage than the Titan. The Titan only has 700 hit points for the shield, and the Harbingers have 1,000. Of course, the Harbingers are the fastest mainline T3 unit. That is not the Titan. That would be the Percy's for the UEF. Of course, there is a parashield, Asylum here trying to assist those Harbingers, but unfortunately... Once the shield strength is down, those Titans will win that fight, but it looks like there's just more and more Harbingers being just spitted out here for Arima, and that group of Titans will have to fall back. That is a nice victory here for Team 2's front line. We do see on the western side here just a couple of units just hanging out, going to prevent any sort of engineers from doing much of anything. Couple of gunships over here for Nasimka. We do see he's just kind of, again, shoring up defenses, and there's more and more Titans now emerging on the western side for Knightly. Knightly has an upgrade paused currently for T2. Gun has been started for Plunder. I thought he'd be a little bit more defensive, but he wants to be protected just in case there is a run-by or just an incursion from Team 1. We do see that this base in the east is getting not necessarily tanky in terms of shielding or artillery, but mainly just tanky because it has a lot of factories. But we do see T2 artillery coming online for Zawirazak. He has 2 of these miasmas, and of course they have that lingering damage that is very annoying to deal with. Of course, it's essentially just, it's like acid that just eats away at everything. There's a couple of units actually outbound from Arima that get behind Zawirazak's forces, and he sends a lot of them to respond to this. It is a Harbinger v Harbinger engagement, and this Harbinger is actually at 2 vet, or 2-star veterancy, so it's able to stave off a little bit more damage than the regular ones, of course. We do see an attack outbound from Sorcery to capitalize on the fact that Zawirazak's forces hold back, but mainly it didn't really work, obviously, because this is a lot of T3s, and this is really just T2s, and actually a lot of Team 1s as well, and those Harbingers able to just rip apart all of those forces. So for Sorcery, does Sorcery have T3? No, he's going for it as we speak, though. Shield coming online here for Knightly now. Stealth coming online here for Plunder. Gun coming online here for Luker. Anybody else have an upgrade? Everybody gets an upgrade. You get one, you get one, you get one. But that's not everybody, I guess. Freedom has gun in T2. Arima does not have anything. Imec Warren U also doesn't have anything. And Voss has advanced range, sensor package, and shield. And he's facing off against a bunch of Titans. This looks like it's going to be the first kill of the game. If Voss cannot get out of there, we don't see the shields on board those Titans just because they don't show them for some reason for your opponents. They just are non-existent. Voss is dropping shield hit points very quickly, though. Of course, the 8,000 going to help him survive a little bit longer, though. He is building some PD that some of them are in range. He's about to lose that shield strength, and there go the whole hit points. They're starting to be ripped apart. There are a couple of broadswords and ASFs inbound from Team 2's air player of Plunder come in and shoo those gunships away. Voss is trying to retreat. Those Titans are trying to blitz him down. Reinforcements from Luca are inbound from the east, and he just needs to get underneath some sort of shield, but there's so many Titans. He's at 4-star veterancy. If he does get a 5th, I think he'll be fine. He's at 2-star veterancy and 4-star veterancy under 2,000 hit points, and he's fine just barely. Luckily for him, those were not Titans, or he probably would have just been one-tapped by those Titans if they were Percy's. That's the caveat. If they were Percy's, he'd be one-tapped. But yeah, that was really close to death here for Voss. He now has a shield, has a couple more PD, has some he has some AA. Probably needs to get some TMD as well. But that was very, very close to the first departure of the game before 20 minutes. And we do see in the east, Plunder using a transport to move his comm around. A couple of Titans are inbound, going after a lot of resourcing options for him. He does have stealth and nano, and I don't think Team 1 can... Actually, no, they can see him because he doesn't have cloaking. And of course, the hit points are slowly falling, but I don't think he's in any danger of dying. Of course, he's mainly concerned about saving his teammate's eco, that being Arima. That's a second max offline. That's 9 mass a second that Arima has lost. He's probably going to lose another one, so that's 27. And then he might be losing a... no, I don't think. If the shield comes back, it might be in the... No, it's not. But still, 27, a decent amount of mass for Arima to lose. That is a T3 max equivalent, so it's not terrible. It's not bad, but it's not great. It's just kind of meh. More Titans down the middle here from Freedom. I do like all of this raiding from both teams, just constantly putting the pressure on their opponents and just constantly just going at it. We do see that in the east. Sorcery facing a similar situation that Voss did in the west. Zwierzak has now kicked him out of his position in the northeast. And Sorcery is dropping into the yellow and in the red. I don't think he's escaping. This will be the first kill of the game. And there it is at almost a little over 18 minutes on the clock. Team 2 loses the first player of the game, and that is Sorcery. And it is now a 5v4 in favor of the northern team of Team 1. And I'm assuming Arima's going to gain control of that. And now he's on dual base. He is only sitting at 280 mass per second, though. Knightley is sitting at 330. He's over here in the west just ecoing up as fast as he can. Does Arima have power? Okay, so that is actual... he's barely positive, but he's still positive, so that is his actual income. But Imec War on You is only sitting at like 160 or so. He is power stalling, though. So that's not helping his mass generation, though. So it's probably about 250, 230, I think, is... trying to do ruffle math in my head, and I don't think I got it right. But it's something like that. We do see, again, some Otham versus Otham and Ilshi pressure here from Imec War on You. And again, Imec War on You doing very well at just forcing Luca constantly back. Luca cannot expand. He only has a couple of mexes to his name. He doesn't have that much under his belt. We do see that he's now pushing back, though, against Imec War on You in the middle. And now Voss, back up in the green, has repped up very quickly here. Probably had some engineer assistance to do so. We do see in the east gunships pushing back at the Harbinger threat from Zwierzak. Zwierzak going to start upgrading those T1 mexes to T2 as we speak. And we see more and more Titans here for Freedom running around. I, again, would like to see some Percys, which he does have a group of them. They don't have any AA coverage or even shield coverage for that minute, but they'll absolutely just rip apart a Harbinger that dares to come into range of that single-shot rifle that is the Percy. A couple of dodging shots, though. That Harbinger would have died had it not dodged one of those shots. There is an Omni online here for Plunder in the middle, and there is an Omni not online for Team 1. So Team 2 has a little bit of an advantage in the intel gathering department. Of course, that is where the Omni is, so that means Team 2 can see everything, of course, in the range. We do see that Voss is still holding the line, though, and we do see that Luca's coming in to assist. We might see a battle of 3 armies plus a comm in the western sides here, but it's starting to shape up, but it's not a full engagement as of yet. I think Luca's thinking that's probably not the best idea. But again, Voss has to be very careful to not just be completely destroyed by these 2 armies for Team 2, but of course, he's perfectly fine because he has a nice little Colossus just hanging out next to him. Of course, that group of persons was a little bit concerning against that Colossus, but I don't think they're engaging. Oh, they are engaging now. Voss is like, okay, I'm going to fall back now because he can see them because he has that huge range on that sensor package. We do see an attack in the east as well, so the west of the middle and the east of the middle being attacked at the same time. Team 1's Freedom is falling back. He has Percy's, the better T3 land unit in this fight, but of course, with enough damage, you can kill anything. You know, again, like I say, 1,000 of anything will kill anything. There are a couple of PD trying to be spammed up here by Freedom, and he's staring down the barrel of a decently sized gun here in the form of these Harbingers. I don't know if he's going to escape here in the western. Voss using his, obviously, Colossus to deal most of the damage to these units. Voss did take a decent amount of shots to the face, but he's fine. He still has the shield online. The Colossus is still in the yellow, so it's not terribly bad. It did get a rank in veterancy. Though Freedom still on the retreat, though, trying to overcharge as he goes. We see some Titans probably raiding. Pulled back from their raiding operation to assist their commander. Freedom is dropping hit points very quickly. Now the Harbingers have zeroed him in. There are more Percys over here coming in to assist their commander. It's going to be tight. Freedom might go down here. Should have just kept falling back, but against a rank in veterancy, he almost died there, but he's still alive. That is 2 close deaths here for Team 1. 1 from Freedom just now and 1 from Voss earlier on. That was really close. I didn't have the exact number. I didn't have my cursor over the comm at the moment. That is very close to death, and he's probably going to be like, I'm just going to go home. I'm just going to go to my base. I'm just going to shield. I'm just going to sit on my couch and just think about what happened and not do that again. That's probably what he's thinking. We do see a fight from Zawarzak capitalizing on the fact that Arima sent most of his forces in. We do see that Plunder is pulling his comm back a little bit risky doing that, but he is being protected by his ASFs, so it's not that much of a threat. But easy flyby from some ASS for Team 1. Of course, he's flying in to intercept those Titans. He's doing a very good job being very, not necessarily risky, but like, oh, my comm is needed over here. Going to put it over here. But he's staying in his territory or his team's territory, not venturing out. We do see that those units now collapsing on this forward operating base here. For Team 2, that Omni is now offline. There's a decent amount of PD and, of course, a couple of engineers trying to build as many Harbingers as they can. This base looks like it is going to crumble, though. There are units coming in to flank this attack, though, in the west. There is that Colossus pushing in, and it is destroyed by a Fat Boy and Chicken combination. I feel like that's a very interesting lunch or dinner, just having like a chicken sandwich with your Fat Boy, or like a Fat Boy that looks like a chicken sandwich, or a chicken sandwich that looks like a... Anyway, just kind of having weird images of like ice cream with chicken. I mean, I know the chicken and waffles is amazing, but I don't know if chicken and ice cream is good. I can't imagine. I couldn't imagine that. But on the eco department here for Team 2, 1.6k mass income. Team 1, 1.4. Team 1 has not lost a player lit at 5 players remaining. Team 2 has lost the only player of the game, that being Sorcery. But let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win this game. And, of course, if you haven't done so already, like the video and subscribe to the channel. You've already watched 24 minutes into this video. You might as well like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, because why not? Why not? It's free, and we all like free stuff. I like free stuff. Again, I really do appreciate all of the support. Jokes aside, thank you so very much. And, of course, in a couple of days, the 400th cast will be released on the channel. It's been amazing to see the channel grow from 0 subscribers to over 1,500 in a little over a year. Thank you so very much for all of the support, and I continually ask for it as I do continue to cast this wonderful game that is Forged Alliance Forever. We do see a nice little grouping of some Harbingers and Percys going after a brick wall. Shields being spammed up as quickly as possible to protect these units, giving them a nice little 4,000 hit points to hide behind. There are some strap bombers inbound. That one almost destroyed, and it looks like it's trying to hover bomb, but it's having some interesting issues with not actually doing that. It's really struggling. Like, I can't, it won't let me. He's really trying to just let it land, and it just gets shot out of the sky anyways. So it doesn't even matter. Of course, that's a nice little reclaim field for Arima to scoop up right on his doorstep. Fat Boy's trying to push back, and Lucas forces to the west. And Voss, just one man arming it over here to the west here, going after some PD emplacements. It's dangerous to do that by himself, especially with T3 units and a Fat Boy, Percy's, all of that running around the map here. Actually, there's 2 Fat Boys. It looks like the chicken died earlier on to some engagement here, and that's where the Fat Boys are here to scoop up that reclaim wreck. Actually, reclaim wrecks. I should say there's that Colossus there as well. Aras coming on the way for Arima in his main base. Plunder moving in and going to drop his comm in front of a bunch of engineers. Of course, it's not that much of a danger. There are 3 groups of engineers. There's ones from Luker, which have almost been dealt with, the ones from Zwarzak, and the ones from Freedom. So everybody wants a piece of that action for that reclaim. And just the T1 artillery spam on the easter just to keep Team 2's Plunder distracted at least a little bit. There are some PD that have been built. The Cerberus is the best one to use for this engagement. It's does minimal damage, which means there's not a lot of overkill. It can reload, quote unquote, very quickly because there is no reload. Technically, it just constantly fires. So it's the best unit to deal with Team 1 units, or best PD to deal with Team 1 units. We do see Voss continuing to push in. His shield is almost back up to full strength, which means until it is, he'll take whole hit points. So he should be fine here now. So now he'll be taking damage from that artillery from the 2 Fat Boys over here, which we do see that Knightley doing a very good job of securing the wreck, and we do see that Imek Lauren Yu is capitalizing on that assistance and scooping up that wrecks. I do like that assistance of the player who doesn't have as much eco being given the wrecks to, again, scale his eco a lot better. I love that teamwork here from Team 2. Again, it's a risky play from Voss to be this far forward, but he does have some gunship support and a lot of ASFs for the Simca, and it looks like there might be a possible snipe attempt on those Fat Boys, but I feel like Team 2 will be prepared for that by the time they get into range. Team 1 AA being spammed up as quickly as possible to do some damage, and gunships coming in for anything and everything in terms of damage they can. Looks like the air fight's going to happen on the southern... It's like, I don't want to engage. It would be on Team 2 side of the map, so all of the wrecks would be on their side. They can scoop it up. Now, obviously, there's some AA, not a lot, but there's some AA. Broadswords and some stingers coming in, just ripping apart Knightley's eco. That's 27 mass per second that he's losing per mex. It is devastating amounts of mass that he's going to be losing if these gunships are allowed to continue their reign of terror in the west. And continuing on, Voss is not leaving. He's like, I'm not leaving. Sounds like, what's his name from Wolf of Wall Street. He's looking to continue to fight on the front line and die on the front line. I love this. There's just one engineer who's built one PD. He's building another PD here just to annoy a couple of mexes over here for Zwarzak. Doesn't take a lot of APM. Just very, very funny to just see one lonely engineer. And I'm assuming all these units are just going to fall back and kill off that engineer. That'd be very entertaining. Looks like the gunships have now been dealt with here by Team 2's AA. And it will push back the remaining ASF. But, of course, a lot of damage to the eco was the main goal. And Knightley now sitting at 300 mass income. Team 1 now in the lead, 1.8k versus 1.5. Is anybody on power stalling? No, no, and no. So, yeah, that is their total generated eco. Team 1 has skyrocketed it, and that's mainly due to Lucas 500 and the Simca's 500. Arima's now at 600. Of course, he's on dual base, so he's able to rep up all of those mixes a lot quicker. The frontline bases here for Freedom have been destroyed. There is a Monkey Lord running around, a chicken as well. A monkey and a chicken walk into a bar, and I don't know where I'm going with this joke, but I guess they asked for a banana split or something. I don't know. There is a joke in there. I don't know what it is. I'm not really good at jokes, so he's coming it up on the fly. So let me know if you have any good, like a monkey and a crab, monkey and a chicken walk into a bar. Colossus is going to target the chicken, and we do see that there are Percy's moving in. I feel like if the Percy's can take out the chicken right here and then target the monkey, that would be the best thing, because then you don't have that Iron Storm to worry about. The monkey is not Looks like it's in and out of range of that Colossus, and that might be enough. The chicken is down. The Colossus is actually still alive, and the monkey is retreating. He doesn't want to give Team 1 the wreck. I don't blame him. Of course, he'll be able to escape with the Ion Storm. There's no way that Zwarzek's going to risk that with that Ion Storm just right in front of his face. That three Fat Boy and 2 chickens over here for Team 2. I feel like, let's see, those would be Imekwan. You should give the chickens over to Knightly, but 1 Fat Boy has been destroyed by the broadswords that came in and said, no to your Fat Boys. We don't like them. I like my ice cream in a different form. I don't like it in a sandwich form. But there's a lot of AA here. But again, the main focus is killing off the Fat Boys. And they may not get that third one. They've severely damaged it, though. They've dropped it into the red. I think it got a rank eventually, but it's killed off anyways. Oh, that's got to hurt. Air fight happens here. Team 2 absolutely rips apart Team 1's air forces. Team 2 has air control, if not dominance, if not pretty much supremacy at this point, having at least 100 more ASFs than Team 1's. We do see in the east, Brick Wall just charging forward against Zwarzek. Colossus is inbound. It is 30 minutes on the clock. Is anybody building anything spicy in their main base? I don't see anything as of yet. I obviously missed things. Chicken being built by Luker. Of course, there is an Ion Storm right in the firing line for Team 1. Chicken online for Luker once more. Another Fat Boy online. Missiles are outbound. Are they going to lead the target enough? And they do. They impact the shielding. Of course, there are some parashields nearby, so they'll absorb some of the damage, but most of those missiles were perfectly timed by Luker. Great planning there in terms of leading the target. We do see in the south, satellite has been started by Knightly, and I think the UEF satellite spam will start to commence. A large air grid over here, secondary air grid over here. Love to see secondary and tertiary air grids being built. This is kind of dangerous territory for Cascade, but at least he has a backup just in case that does happen. Colossus spam started for Arima, but I don't see any sort of bigger ticket items here for either team besides just that one satellite for Team 2's Knightly. Colossus pushing forward against Freedom's Fat Boy, and now that's getting bombarded by some fighter bomber Corsairs. The shield is down, and the Fat Boy is dead. That Fat Boy is DED, dead on arrival, DOA, whatever you want, acronym or word you want to use. Colossus is destroyed. Monkey. It's going to be close. There's a couple more shots from a couple of Percys will do him in, and it will kill off the experimental on the front line. There's a lot of dead stuff here. We started off with 140,000 mass. We're now over that at 200,000 mass and reclaim on the field. We do see, of course, there are some chickens fleeing some artillery from the Fat Boys here for Knightly, and I feel like Knightly's strategy will probably be just build a bunch of Fat Boys to prevent any sort of land engagement from Team 1 and then just go for satellites. That might be his strategy. It isn't, not every UEF that builds a satellite builds 20 of them, but they usually build at least a few. I mean, they're a very good unit. And we see Voss just being the one-man army that he is in the West, just absolutely going, nope, I'm going to die on the front lines. I don't care. And he's doing very well at just being annoying. And Team 2's Knightly has not done anything about it, partly because if he does kill him off, that's an entire player's eco that goes to somebody else on Team 1. He doesn't want to give somebody else dual bases. You can see, a player with dual bases on Team 2 who's over 700 mass per second is doing very, very well here for himself and is still keeping Team 2 in the game for the mass generation department. Team 1 is eking them out just barely at 2.1k now versus the 1.8 that Team 2 is generating. Again, large air grid would like to see some sort of secondary air grid. Actually, excuse me, there is one over here. I asked and I shall receive, I guess. We do see that couple of bricks and Harmagers being forced back by a new Fat Boy. Of course, there is a wreck that Fat Boy is just going to fire upon and damage a lot of mass in that wreck. That's going to hurt the engineer's paycheck very much, unfortunately. It does look like Zwarzek's still holding the eastern position, but it's mainly just engineers. Looks like he's dealt with that land incursion from that one little engineer over there. kind of was like, okay, enough of that. It was cute, but now it's annoying. We do see some more units outbound from Voss to the west, just trying to protect and assist their commander. And those ASF numbers are getting pretty scary. 200 ASFs for Team 2. Team 1 sitting at 135. He is really pumping out those ASF counts. We do see that Arima does ping Voss's commander, being like, hey, he's over here. And Arima's like, lol. Yeah, Voss is still there. Still hanging out. We do see that there is a chicken. You can just send a chicken over there. You could send almost anything after him, and you'd be fine. You see one person's kind of just roaming the map over there. Another satellite has been started and is almost done. He definitely needs more than one shield. I mean, he can assist it, but I mean, he's going to build another one and another one. He's just going to go fully, I mean, satellite spam. And sometimes we've seen games where it works, and we've seen games that it doesn't work. It just depends on other factors in the game. But in the east, the wall has collapsed, at least for Team 1. The movable brick wall for Team 2 and a couple of Harbingers and Colossus are inbound, or is inbound, I should say. One Colossus standing strong is underneath some shielding, or I should say his feet are covered by some shielding, but that's about it. It's like going to the ocean and only dipping your toes, and it's like, yeah, I'm kind of wet, but not really. It's like, eh. You will notice in the campaign video actually it's tomorrow, but I make a comment about having an idea of doing an all, what are they called? The Cyberns, the Fire Beetle play, where I just build all Fire Beetles, and that's what I use to win that campaign mission, or complete the campaign mission. Let me know if that is a good idea. Obviously, I'm making a comment about it now before the video is even released when I ask about it. But kind of just thinking about other ideas to do campaign missions. I don't want to just do all land and all air again that I've already kind of done. If it's, I think you might like tomorrow's challenge I do for myself, but I definitely feel like everybody's going to love the week after that. I have a really good idea for it. So hopefully everybody does love it. It's one of the things where it's a definitely unique thing to do. That's I think the only clue for next week's video about my campaign mission. And number 3 is the mission that I will be on for that week. Anyway, talking about other things, some lightning tanks moving in. Of course, they can attack ground units. Not a lot of damage, but there's something. Colossus pushing in. One Colossus from Swiresback trying to distract, and there are 3 lasers inbound for that Colossus, and they're probably going to cross the streams and do devastating amounts of damage to some ghost from beyond the grave on top of the Empire State Building. We do see in the west, Voss is now getting some spam facilities online, and Voss is actually in the red. He's taking some damage from something from Team 2, but he's still alive and kicking. He's not dying, at least that easy. Third satellite is almost done for Nightly, and that would just be rude to kill off Voss with some satellites. I feel like land units would be the only respectful way to kill him off, especially because it's just him and a couple of units, but it's literally just him on the front lines. We do see a large army pushing in from I Make War on You. A couple of fat boys in the mix. Looks like all those units were donated from Nightly. We do see in the east Arima pushing in. Team 1 is suffering in all lanes except for Voss's lane, who it's just him on the front line. So literally, again, as I will say it, the one-man army. And Voss gains control of everything from Nasimka. Nasimka control Ks, and something like this, usually we pause the game. Is there any sort of note about it? 6 experimentals. No, I don't see any other comments from him. Looks like maybe he just had to go, a connection, because it doesn't say anything. Well, no, we would make there'd be some comment about like, oh, it's Nasimka, we got, he's got to leave or whatever. But Team 1 loses their first play of the game at 36 minutes to most likely just either a desync, not desync, but a disconnect or something. Tactical nuke has been started, and obviously the tactical missile was built. Now the actual upgrade's being built. 3 Colossi are inbound. This one is fleeing. There's a chicken coming in from the side, though. That's really going to hurt this Colossus's hit points. We do see that those units have actually fallen back a little bit. One fat boy taken offline. I don't know if that's an old wreck or a new wreck, but given the amount of artillery here for Voss, I would assume that's a new wreck. A couple of chicken fights over here to the east, and it's just kind of a murder-suicide situation over there. One Colossus is down for Team 1. One Colossus is down for Team 2. Fat Boy actually very close. That Fat Boy needs to definitely fall back. Colossus, if they're paying attention, or if Arima's paying attention, he'll actually see that the Fat Boy is right there. And that second Colossus is down. Fourth one coming in. I feel like that's not really worth it. Corsairs are inbound, though, from Plunder to go after it. There's not that much air power anymore, though, so they are completely destroyed. And those Ravagers are just ravaging that Colossus's hit points. Yeah, I made that joke. It's a really low-hanging fruit joke, but it's there. We do see a couple of units now for Arima as well, getting into the Trimax position for Zwarzak. And Zwarzak has lost everything here on this northeastern side. There's really no way to fight back against Arima. Arima now sitting at 1 point. Actually, that's Luker sitting at 1.1k mass income. He's gained everything that Nasimka had. And Voss just is content with just a couple of mexes. Just wants to be on the front lines. He's fallen back. There's a large group of Percys that have forced him back, but he's still alive and kicking and not wanting to give up anytime soon. A couple of sniper bots over there. Team 1 PD being built to counteract these bricks and Harbingers. Don't know if that's going to be enough, but at least it's something. We do see those Colossus are inbound to assist. They're probably just going to secure this northeastern corner. Team 2 now at 2.5k mass income. They have skyrocketed in the mass income department. Team 1 has fallen to 1.7k mass income. We do see that a fourth satellite is online. Still only 2 shields for 4 satellites. That's not a lot. In even 200 seconds for that T3 upgrade. That's a nice even number. It's not like it's almost like ASMR or whatever, but with numbers. But it's like a perfect, 100 or 200, or in this case a 200. I don't know if that's a thing. I'm assuming it is. But whenever I want to pay for something, or if I go out to eat, I always want to end the bill on like a dollar amount, not like if $15 and 30 cents. I always want to do like $16 or whatever, just to make that, I don't know, an even number in my head. I don't know why. I just do that. Nuke is outbound, going for those units sitting over here, and there are no loyalists, so this missile will not be redirected. And that Colossus wreck is standing up. Just want to point that out. That wreck is not fallen. It is standing up, and it is missing a head. Nuke does land, kills off some units, and damages others, but it isn't that damaging. But yeah, that Colossus wreck is standing, doesn't have a head, or it's a squished head, and does not look good. It's almost like one of those cursed images. Do see, again, units pushing in on the western side for IMEC and artillery coming outbound from Team 1's Luker. He's building a second one, and it's, where is it targeted, though, is the question. Looks like it's going for the secondary air grid for Plunder, because the primary air grid has been knocked offline, and there is that that cascade effect. T3 for Plunder, probably talking about engineers, most likely. He wants those Seraphim shielding, and I don't blame him. They are the best in the game. We do see, of course, the front line for Voss is falling back, and he's still on the front line assisting. He is not going anywhere. He's back up in the high yellows, though. Chicken coming in, targeting that commander, I would assume. Gunships ripping apart that chicken, though. There's a Fat Boy just being eaten alive by some miasma. Another artillery shot inbound barely misses. And that chicken is facing off against this chicken. This comm of Voss will not die. He's like Freedom, but worse in this game, where Freedom was almost killed. And Voss is like, well, I'm just going to stay on the front lines until I die. But he has been pushed back, to be fair, so that is his new front line. So he doesn't have to sit over here. That is his front line. He does have a couple of gunships running around, though, going after some very vulnerable Percys. No AA in sight in terms of some ASF or whatever, but Team 1's Billy Nuke up. The Freedom just constantly pumping out those pseudo nukes. We do see a chicken just running into oncoming traffic at this point, wanting to do maximum damage with that Iron Storm, and these two Colossi are like, nah, I don't care. This Fat Boy still not targeted by that Colossus for some reason, and this Colossus could have easily killed that Fat Boy. I don't know why it didn't. Maybe target priority was on something else. There is an Omni that's right there. That's a nice, juicy target for Team 2 to take out. Would take just a millisecond, just click in and move on. This Colossus from Zwarzak, very instrumental in dealing with those assisting forces from Arima. And I feel like, Team 2 is dropping mass income, obviously. We see Team 1 dropping as well. Looks like there's some power outages going on here, most likely for Luker. No, Luker's fine. Freedom, maybe? No, looks like everybody's fine. It just looks like that number was constantly jumping. Looks like it's just stuff is being destroyed, I guess would be the way to put it. Or just reclaim is probably what it is. But Nuke outbound targeting those Colossi, which are actually moving, so that's not going to go anywhere. It's going to kill off some engineers. Now, Team 2 is building an emissary, the best T3 artillery in the game. And this T3 artillery inbound from Luca going after the secondary air grid. He wants no issues from Team 2's Blunders ASFs. But Voss is finally defeated. Apologies for missing it by I Make War on You. He died on the front line. Very honorable man he is. At least I hope he's in. I mean, the percentage chance that he is a guy is very high. I don't want to assume, but I'm assuming it's a high percentage. Anyway, that is now a 3v4 game here. Team 2 in the lead with comms remaining for the first time in the game. And that Scath is currently being built and being shielded, of course, by the Seraphim shielding donated to from I Make War on You. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, soon 7 satellites online for Team 2's Nightly, and he's now being targeted by Team 1's Freedom satellite. And that shielding is about to collapse just by one artillery. And that second one is almost online. If the second one does finish, that is a dead grouping of satellites, I will tell you what. And we do see that, of course, the Scathis has been marked by Voss. It is in the red, but it is starting to get up there. You do see that Arima has fallen back underneath some PD and shield protection, just getting more shields all the time. Billy Nuke's constantly landing here in the east. Just engineers everywhere for Team 2, just scraping anything and everything off of the map. And on the map, currently sitting at 250,000 mass. You can build anything in the game with that mass. We do see that there is a chicken waiting for orders. There are a lot of flak units over here with some shields and some Othams. We do see that that second artillery is about to finish. This one has taken some damage, but the shields are trying to be assisted as much as they can. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shields, satellites just constantly bombarding that shield. And the shields are down somewhat around that grouping of Novaxes. They are building another T3 shield to protect at least most of them. But a couple of these are vulnerable, and this one is very vulnerable. The satellite above that position can easily target that one. Oh, and will the artillery just do it for it? Nope, just misses barely to the south. So Knightley is holding on for dear life with those satellites. Chicken v chicken will be a murder-suicide situation. Ion Storm will kill off one or the other. Gunships are like, nah, that's my kill, thank you. The chicken does not get the credit for it. I get the credit for it, said somebody in one of those gunships. And Freedom builds another experimental, most likely another Fat Boy, I would presume. Well, no, it's actually a Novax, so now he has 2 of them online. So currently sitting at, was that 9 Novaxes? 1, because that one's dead. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 9 so far. That was the low-hanging fruit one. And that shield, I mean, it's back and forth. There is a new one online that Knightley has to give an orders to, but now that the emitters around these ones are down, it's not looking good for Knightley's laser strategy. We do see just an absolute horde of artillery inbound from I Make War on You, moving in to deal with all of the defenses here. We even see some units from Knightley assisting as well. Billy Nuke can land in the front of all of these units. And I feel like Team 2's Arima, he has Cybern Tech. You can easily build a couple of Loyalists to redirect those missiles. It would be very, very useful. I mean, it's obviously specifically the Billy Nukes. And one of them is just grabbed before it can be destroyed by Billy Nuke. So this Colossus saves that brick from being destroyed by a Billy Nuke, but then will get crushed. The Colossus is like, no, I want to kill him. Chicken retreating behind the safety of a Colossus. 2 Fat Boys with no shielding on board. Looks like Freedom having some power issues. We do see some units moving in for the west here. Still getting into some low-hanging fruit here for Team 1 from Knightley. And he has now lost only the 1 satellite station. I feel like, you know, this satellite here from Freedom could target. Yep, and I was going to say he probably could just target the ones that are exposed. But second artillery is online for Luker. And I don't think those satellites are going to last very much. Oh, my goodness. That's a lot of ASFs. 300 of them for Team 2. How many does Luker have? 600 ASFs. That's not 200. That's not 300. 600. And that is just what? How do you even, like, I can't even, like, demonstrate in, like, a thumbnail of how obnoxious 600 ASFs are. That is just so many ASFs. No, I don't want that panel open. Stop telling me about that. Looks like Team 2's eastern side is starting to collapse with that Chicken, Colossus, and Fat Boy support. We do see that Izwarzek is reestablishing himself on the northeastern side. And on the western side here, the Chicken is inbound, but there's more and more PD and shields being built by Luker. And I think that shield, I mean, it'll stave off death for a little bit, but not by much. We see that there are more Chickens inbound for Luker. He has 2 artilleries online. He's probably building a third somewhere, possibly up. He is building a third somewhere. Look at that. And how are the satellites doing? The ASF sitting down here, I mean, I know they're trying to shield against some artillery shots, but not the best place to put your satellites, that's for sure. This satellite station's offline. I think there was one right here. That one's offline. That one, by all accounts, looks like it was shot. I mean, I know it landed on the shielding right here, right above it, but it looked like it was directly impacted, like a nuke tube from Modern Warfare 2, the old Modern Warfare 2. Dunk, and just impact somebody, and you get a kill with it. Very entertaining. Anyway, that was long. I feel like that was a long time ago, but probably other people feel like it wasn't or was, depending on your viewpoint. Anyway, Scath is still under construction. Still isn't finished, not in the green yet, and the shields are going offline. Team 2 needs more shielding, and it looks like the satellites are like, oh, that's probably a more important target. I don't know if that's going to finish. The shield is about, I was going to say, the shield's about to go offline, and it's offline, and stop, air alert, pinging, please. That orders to go for shielding is very, very... like it's needed immediately, and that's Scathis. Once those lasers are recharged, that's it. That Scathis is gone. Artillery comes in. Oh no, it's not. Oh, it's barely. And here come the ASFs. Team 1's Luker just absolutely rips Team 2's apart. We do see that a control K does happen above a couple of those air forces here for IMEC Warren. You trying to do some damage, but the damage is already done. The Scathis still lives, but just barely. But with the gunships here, Nightly, that's not looking good here for him. He does have a shield, but all of the emitters are being taken offline. The mexes are being taken offline. Everything for Nightly is being taken offline. And how many ASFs remain? 500. He only lost, like, when I did the count, about 100 or so. Donut is inbound. Team 2's front lines are collapsing. The eastern side, not as much as the western side. Artillery still trying to take out that Scathis. Scathis is pretty close to being done, but it needs more shielding. Needs more shielding. And that Donut is inbound for something. It's going to crash land. It will miss the SMD, but it'll take out some P-gens, or it tries to take out some P-gens, but the shields defer some of that damage. Is there any other big ticket items there for Team 1? Third artillery online. Satellites rip through most of that air grid here for Team 1's Luker. So it's a nice little counter there from Nightly, but I feel like the damage is already done from Team 1. 500 ASFs. There's hardly any sort of air grid remaining. I mean, there's something, not that much though. Some of those satellites were taken offline. There's only 2 of them remaining. Nightly is trying to rebuild, but I mean, you lost more than 60%. No air, lose game, says Arima. Lost all my land to your air player. Killed like 6 experimentals. Novexes were useless. Raided with gunships. I mean, it just needed more shielding was the main thing. Another satellite taken offline. It's just, Nightly's just suffering from the artillery bombardment. But the Scathis is, I mean, it's not fine. It's really diminished. But Team 2 loses. Arima looks like he just control Ks and just says, nope, I'm done. Actually, he control Ks everything. He's like, I'm done. Yeah, it left to your air problem. And with that, Team 2 really doesn't have much remaining. And there goes Nightly, and it leaves Plunder being the last remaining player for Team 2. And with that, that's game. There's no coming back from this for Team 2. There's no hope. That's Scathis. Oh, it's almost done, though. And even if the Scathis does finish, it's not going to matter because it's being bombarded by artillery. Luca has won the game. It looks like Plunder just conceded. He could have waited till we completed the Scathis, though. That would have been nice to see. I mean, it's very, very close. I'd say 97% or so. Obviously, the percentage is mainly about the hit points, not necessarily the construction percentage. But that's the game, folks. Team 1 wins the game at almost 50 minutes. Let me know down in the comments who you think deserves MVP, but maybe I'm a little biased here. He wasn't the most impactful player in the game, but I do feel like Voss just being the one-man army that he was. I mean, he may not get MVP, possibly, maybe, but he at least gets play of the game because that is just ballsy to be like, yeah, I'm just going to send my comment. That's it. No assisting units, pretty much. No shields, no AA, no nothing. And Team 2 just leaves him alone because he knows that if he's killed, the base goes to somebody else, and Team 2 doesn't want that. So they just left him doing his thing, and he did a decent job. I mean, he's still just in the fight till he was killed off by IMEC War on You. I mean, but all kidding aside, I mean, like I said, I don't want to just give him the MVP because of that, but Zwarazek did a very good job on this eastern side, just kind of holding, pushing in, holding. Freedom, same thing. Luker, I mean, he did. It was very much just back and forth. Of course, he got everything from Nasimka, and that really just skyrocketed his ability to fight back on Team 2. But I don't think there was like one player that did the most. I mean, the artilleries obviously helped the situation. The land war on the eastern side wasn't really effective. Definitely the artillery taking out the air grid was a huge turning point for Team 1, and Team 2 just could not get the ASFs to counter Team 1. But I still think Voss gets MVP in my book. Let me know down in the comments if you agree with that or not. Of course, if you haven't done so already, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so very much for watching to the end of the video, and I will see all of you in the next one.